Hey guys, it's Joe from American Muscle, and today we're going to be talking about the MMD by Foose rear spoiler, pre-painted, fitting all 15 and newer S550s. This is going to be a great option for any S550 owner out there looking for a spoiler that's going to make some subtle changes that are going to lead to some huge improvement of the rear end looks of any S550. So first things first, let's dive into what this thing is made out of. Then we'll take a look at some of the styling cues here. Then we'll go over some paint options, and later on in the video, I'm going to show you how to get this installed. This is made out of durable yet lightweight automotive grade ABS plastic, and it really takes that factory design language and improves on it immensely with some subtle changes, again, that are going to make a huge difference in the rear looks of any S550. This comes down to the hard work by designer legend Chip Foose. You can really see what he was going for here with this notch. Very, very closely mimics the cutout here for the rear license plate, just sort of flipped upside down. And that really makes this spoiler look like it could have come on the S550 from the factory. That's not to say it is just like the factory spoiler though. This is definitely going to be a little bit more aggressive, and in fact, we're going to get this side by side next to the factory spoiler in just a second here. However, I'm going to call the MMD by Foose a middle ground in this sort of design. We've seen this before. The MMD V-Series really talks this same design language and really takes it to the next level. So on a scale here, you got the factory spoiler. I would put the MMD by Foose in the middle ground. And then if you're looking for the most aggressive in this style of spoiler, check out the MMD V-Series as well. These are also pre-painted right here in-house at American Muscle using the exact Ford color codes. And as you can see, this is a perfect match for our competition Orange 15 GT here. Those guys in the paint shop do a great job making sure that these are an exact match for any Ford color code on any S550. Now, pricing for the MMD by Foose, it's gonna drop in right around the $400 mark, and that makes this a little bit more budget friendly than the V-Series by right around 50 bucks. So if you are looking to save a little bit but get the same design language, the MMD by Foose is going to be a great option for you. And if you are looking to save even more, you can pick this up in the unpainted finish for right around 300 bucks from us as well. Before we move on to the install here, I do just want to make a quick note about drilling. If you have a spoiler on your Mustang from the factory, you could reuse those holes, no need to touch a drill. However, if you do have a California special spoiler on your Mustang, this will not cover all of the holes left by that particular spoiler. And if you don't have a spoiler at all, you are gonna have to break out the drill. But a template is included in the kit to make that process really, really easy. Now, as far as difficulty goes, I'm gonna give this an easy 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter at most. I think you can get this done in about an hour or two in the driveway with nothing but some basic hand tools. So without any further ado, let me show you what tools you'll need and how it's done. Tools required for this install are going to include a heat gun or hair dryer, adhesion promoter, and an alcohol wipe. Both of these do come included in the kit. Clean microfiber, trim panel removal tool, Phillips head screwdriver. I also use this one on a socket to get into a tight space, 10mm socket, ratchets, magnet on a stick is also a good idea to bring along, and not pictured in the shot will be the adhesive remover. I would recommend 3M Automotive Adhesion Remover. So in order for us to remove our factory spoiler, we need access to some hardware, which is under this cardboard piece of felt here. So we need to get that out of the way. In order to remove that, we need to remove these 2 rubber bumpers, then this plastic cover over the latch. We're gonna pull through the emergency trunk release, and then we're gonna remove all these push pins, and this should fall right out, allowing us access to the hardware. So first things first, this cover over the latch just pulls right off. Now ours has been off a couple times, so you might need a trim panel removal tool to do that for the first time, and then you can unthread these rubber bumpers, and they'll come right out as well. Now we need to remove all these push pins. There are 9 of them. And to get those out of the way, I'm gonna use the trim panel removal tool. So now this is all going to fall down. One thing you want to make sure you do is feed through that emergency release. Then we can pull that off the Mustang. So now we have access to all of our hardware. we're gonna go ahead and remove it. It's 4 10mm bolts across our trunk lid, and then the spoiler will be held on with some 3M double-sided tape. Now, one thing I do want to touch on before you remove those bolts, you want to be extremely careful not to drop them down the trunk lid. Otherwise, you'll be fishing them out with a magnet for hours, so use a magnet, try to sort of catch them. That's what we're gonna do on the outside here. For the middle, we should just be able to grab those on the way out. One thing I would recommend trying, if you just bring the trunk lid down like that, you can sort of bounce the screw on the socket as you're coming out, and that is also a good way to remove these. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and grab our 10 and remove these screws. So you can see I just have my magnet in here. We're gonna go over to the other side and do the same exact thing. And like I said, the middle is a little bit easier. So now our spoiler is just held on with that 3M double-sided tape. We're gonna take the heat gun, warm this up a little bit, and this thing should fall right off. So now that we have the factory spoiler off of our Mustang, I figured now would be the perfect time to stop down, put that on the table next to our new MMD by Foose spoiler, and point out some key differences between these two. Now, the design language is going to be pretty similar here. This stock spoiler is sort of up on the sides and then tapers down into this low point here and then jumps back up on the other side. Same exact thing on the Foose here, except it does extend a little bit more toward the middle and then swoop down. This is a nice touch. It kind of reflects that spot for the license plate, just flipped upside down. This is gonna look right at home on the rear of our S550, like I've been saying. It's also a little bit more convex, as it kind of is bowed in a little bit, where this is just flat all the way across the top. It's a little bit more aggressive as well, with this bigger drop down and sort of bigger edge out here toward the rear as well. Definitely going to be a huge upgrade over that factory spoiler. The paint match is going to be pretty much identical here. Again, really good job by the guys over in the paint booth. And just like the factory stuff, this does come with the 3M double-sided tape installed on the bottom, which makes this really, really easy to drop right onto our trunk lid, line it up, and then run the screws home to secure it. Now, there is one thing we're gonna have to do to this to prep it to go over to our Mustang, and that is on the bottom side here. We're going to have to install a little bit of foam. This is just as a buffer to make sure we don't scratch up the trunk lid once this spoiler is installed. Now we have to do a little bit of prep work on our Mustang. You want to make sure there's no leftover adhesive on here. I'm using a little bit of Goof Off, but what I would actually recommend is automotive grade adhesive remover from 3M. That's really good stuff and designed to remove that residue from the double-sided tape, specifically this one. Now, once that's clean, we're gonna use that alcohol prep pad that comes in the kit to give that a little bit of a wipe down. And last but not least, we have this adhesion promoter. That's just gonna make sure our double-sided tape sticks. We're gonna skip that for now. Now, in our case, we removed a factory spoiler, so we already have these pre-drilled holes to work with. In your case, you might not have that, and if you don't have those holes, now would be the time to drill them. Again, the template is included in the kit. Once you have that done though, all this is gonna be is pulling back the cover to the adhesive. And then we're gonna stick this in place, doing our best to line up the holes. So now the spoiler is lined up with the holes in the trunk lid and held still with the tape. We're just gonna come in with the Phillips head screws included in the kit and bolt the two together. We're gonna do the same thing over here on the other side and then hit the two bolts in the middle. That is a little bit tough to get to with the regular screwdriver, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this one on the ratchet just to get in here a little bit better. The spoiler is now installed. We're just gonna start our rebuild process. And to do that, we're gonna put up this piece of foam and then pull through the emergency release. And we can secure this with the 9 push pins. And then we're just gonna put back together this part up here. We start by putting that back where it's supposed to be. Then we could thread in these rubber bumpers. And last but not least, the plastic cover for our latch pops right back on. Guys, that is gonna do it for me. It's also gonna do it for the MMD by Foose rear spoiler, pre-painted, fitting all 15 and newer S550s. As always, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more like this one. Keep it right here at American Muscle for all things Mustang.